Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Live. It is, what is it? Got to check my computer here. It's Friday, June 4th, and I am live on YouTube. I'm also live on Twitch at Ben the Barman. That's a new thing. So, any of you have Twitch, you can follow my lives over there. And I always do live on Facebook, though Facebook is always a little bit slow. Let me just crank up the volume here. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I'll be on as long as you guys have questions, and feel free to post up your questions, diet, training, nutrition, off topic, uh, supplements, whatever you want, whatever's on your mind. If you're new to the channel, do not hesitate to let me know where you're from, make a comment, post a question. Don't think any question is stupid. So let me make sure the Facebook feed is going well. Facebook tends to hate me. That looks like it's going well. And I think Twitch is rocking as well. So, all right. So let me know where you guys are tuning in from, what you got going on, and how the weekend looks. I have severe allergies just killing me. The last 2 weeks in Ohio have been, it was 88 one day. And then like a week later, it was like 44, and we're dealing with cottonwood and all kinds of crap. So I'm having a hard time breathing with my allergies. And it goes from super freezing in my office to super warm. So, all right, let's dive into things. And what do we got? Gravity training. Is a front squat just an upper back exercise? The front squat is something that you see a lot of people talk about, a lot of people elevate. But I find in training, a lot of people just simply do not like it. They struggle to hold the bar in place. It places a lot of stress on their mid, upper back, etc. I do not like front squats, and I'm not saying they are ineffective. Do not cross those wires. They are certainly a good exercise choice. If you like them, ride with them. I do not like them at all. They place a lot of stress on my mid back. So you would think somebody that's been a strong deadlifter and has a lot of back strength would be able to handle it. Just not so much. Not a big fan. Stein is tuning in from Norway. How's it going, Stein? Appreciate your support. Rob says hello. How do you brace correctly? Well, bracing basically, and I'm going to dumb things down to 2 steps: taking a breath and then bracing your core. That's a good start. On each individual lift, you're going to have other bracing cues. Like on the squat, you're going to take a deep breath, brace, and kind of pull the bar down into the meat of your back, or pull your elbows down. That'll help you brace your upper back a little bit. On the bench, one of the a simple cue that I talk about is before you unrack, plant your feet and think about gently spreading the floor. That'll help you get some quality lower body tightness, bracing, etc. When you are on the bench and lowering the bar, I want you to think about rowing the bar to your chest. I find that's better for my shoulders, and it also helps me to remain tighter and more braced on the bench press. So different bracing cues, tips for different lifts. But in general, you want to take a big breath and you want to tighten your core. All right, what do we got here? Josh, are reloads necessary on bro splits? You get adequate recovery. I think just not as many deloads. Deloads deloads are really not split specific or frequency specific. That really has to do with the individual. Certain exercises can tax you where you need a deload from a certain exercise, or you can need a deload, say, from your posterior chain. You could need a deload to take care of your shoulders and elbows. There's many reasons you might need a deload. So what I tend to prefer is keep them natural. When you have a sick day, take time away from the gym. When you have vacation, take time away from the gym. when you feel like absolute crap, don't just plan a week off, plan 1 or 2 extra days of recovery. Take it day by day. When you feel more normal, go back to the gym. The only time you really need to plan a deload, I would say, is if you are a couple of cases. If you are in a program that is involved with overreaching, like planned overreaching, there would probably be a good case for a structured deload. Or if you are a later intermediate lifter, it's probably a good idea if you're not training for a powerlifting meet or whatever. My dog's over there snoring already. If you're not training for a powerlifting meet, it's probably a good idea to take every 4th week lighter. And that can be scandalous and, sound like, that doesn't sound like any fun. But if you're mid-30s, mid-40s, you're training heavy, your strength is pretty good, it's probably a good idea to take every 4th week a little bit lighter, just from a longevity standpoint, so you don't beat the crap out of your body. All right, Joe, evening from Sweden. How's it going, Joe? Appreciate the stream as always. Have a good weekend. Thank you. I'll be working all weekend. I put out a video about my coaching services and said I was taking 20 new clients, and man, did that fill up fast. And I appreciate you guys allowing me to help. I've done a lot of phone calls. I got 2 today after the live video, and just absolutely booked up lightning fast. So busy week and busy weekend for me. And Faz, what's going on? Hello from the UK. You guys can check out Faz's channel at Faz Lives. And I was trying to get Faz to 1,000 subscribers. But if you guys want to go over there and subscribe to his YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate it. And look for new content from me and Faz soon. We're going to be trying to connect every Tuesday to get a video topic down. And I believe what we're going to cover on Tuesday, our tentative topic is strong but small. Like, why are you increasing strength but not increasing size? And one of the things, just to touch on that really briefly, this is only one of the things we'll probably talk about out of many, but some people will have a strength increase, right? They'll go from like 20s on dumbbell bench to 50s, and they'll say, I had a pretty noteworthy strength increase, but I didn't gain a lot of size. Well, why is that? Well, you really are still relatively weak. That's one reason. A lot of guys are gaining strength and they're getting more, they think they should be getting more muscle for the strength gains they accumulated. But in reality, you're probably going to see more strength gains moving your dumbbell bench from 50s to 120s than you did from moving them from 20s to 50s, if that makes sense. Austin, hello from Iowa. How's it going? If I sound like crap, guys, my allergies are killing me. My sinuses are blocked up, and I'm trying not to die. So we're hanging in there. Stein, about deloads. When bulking, do you keep calories the same? Yep. You try to keep calories as consistently as possible. What happens on a bulk is if somebody is constantly going over, like every 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th day, they're actually increasing their daily calorie average, and they're going to increase their rate of weight gain, and it's going to tend to turn into a fat bulk. So you have to be really, really careful about calorie consistency. On a bulk has a specific goal, and that's to pack on muscle mass without getting fat. And if you're going to consistently go over your calorie totals, you're going to raise your calorie average, and you're going to get to a point where you're going to need to do bulks and cuts and bulks and cuts and bulks and cuts. And it can just become frustrating because you don't have long periods of time where you're able to dedicate to the muscle building process. And if you're deloading, on a bulk, understand the body's still recovering. There's no value really from dropping calories. That's just really overthinking. Brian, your thoughts on Frank McGruff's struggle to lose weight? I deal with Frank on a daily basis, and Frank is losing weight, but I do not talk about anybody's personal journey on social media. I just don't feel it's appropriate. Let's see. I had a blood test and my test levels were at the low end. 400 is not on the low end. It's more low mid. I'm 17 and working out. Will this affect my results? No, not at all. One thing I would encourage you to do is see if you can improve your diet. And I'm not sure if this is actually diet driven, but we have to look at factors that can help your testosterone levels. Dietary consistency is one of them, and sleep is one of them as well. Frank, how's it going, Frank, in the UK? And we got Stephen Marquez. How's it going, Stephen? Thanks for joining in. Joachim Christensen from Norway. What's going on? John Allen, a client of mine. Hey, John, thanks for tuning in. Thoughts on the push-pull legs upper lower split? It's a split. It's a split. That's all. I mean, there's really nothing more to say about it than that. No split is better than anything else, really. That's the reality. So if you like it, use it. Do I think it's a little bit of the thing I don't like about it is you have to balance. You have too many things to balance in that type of program. You got your push-pull legs, and then you're going to jump into upper and then jump into lower. So you really have to look at time from your last workout and then when you're structuring in exercises. What do I mean? Well, let's say you do push on Monday and pull on Tuesday and legs on Wednesday, and you're off on Thursday, and you do upper on Friday. So you did Monday, you did back, or you did your push, and Tuesday you did your pull, and then on Friday you're doing upper again. So you really have to kind of not only factor in what you did on Monday and Tuesday, and are you recovered, and what can you do on Friday, but you also have to factor in if you're going to do an upper day, you have to be fresh or relatively fresh on Monday when you start your push workout again. So what invariably happens is people try to cram in as much as they can on these types of workouts rather than making them optimal for recovery and consistent progress, because more is better, right? More is better. We got to do more and more and more. If I'm going to do a type of program like that, upper is generally going to, because you're going to be doing an upper on Friday and then another upper on Monday, it's going to be pretty low volume on that upper day. So same thing. Lower day, you have a little bit more balance because you have two lower days. So really all it is push-pull legs, upper legs, right? Yari, hello from Finland. How's your hockey? Not really an insult. Well, I'm from Wisconsin, which kisses Canada, and I don't live there now, but we were a big hockey state. Our colleges, our universities were big hockey universities. We didn't have a pro team in our state, unfortunately, but we had ones next door, the Chicago Blackhawks and the Minnesota North Stars, who I believe are in Dallas now. I don't follow hockey as much as I used to, but I always was a big hockey fan. At one point in my life, I'd watch every game every night of the week. So I don't have time for that anymore. Richard, how's it going in Scotland? Richard, thanks for tuning in. Leon, do you think 10 sets for every big muscle group and 6 for hams, calves, biceps, and triceps are enough on a cut? Yeah, they're enough on a bulk. That's, if you look at the math, you're going to break that down to about 70 sets a week, over 70 hard sets a week, and that's plenty on a bulk or a cut. And what do we got? Bree from Mongolia. Thanks for tuning in, Bree. I appreciate it. I'm always, my brain never connects what time it is in Mongolia. Bree is a client of mine, and I know we have dramatically different, we're in different time zones, but I can never remember what time it is when I start my live video. Rafael D'Souza, help. I'm having trouble with the front squat. I can lift the weight, but I can't hold the bar over my shoulders. My wrists hurt, so I hold my hands over each other. The cross grip is fine. It's pretty normal to have troubles holding the front squat. So there's nothing magical I can tell you. People will probably post tips and tricks and all that kind of thing, and you can find 1,000 of them on the internet. But the reality is the the front squat is a pain in the butt for most people. So if you don't, you either got to deal with it and say it's going to be a pain, or you just have to move on, use a different exercise. One thing I suggest on the front squats is maybe dropping the number of reps per set, because you tend to get a little bit of fatigue. You really have to focus on tightness as you descend as much as possible, embracing so you're not leaning forward, constantly leaning forward, or you're fighting the urge to lean forward from slop. That can be the result of sloppy reps. Let's put it like that. Dave Argentino. Which faster than light concept do you like the most? Most feasible? I don't know about any of faster than light concepts. I'm out of the game. So, I mean, it's something that I've thought about from from in the mind, it's feasible, right? In the mind, there are many, many ways you can plan to go faster than light. But if it's possible, in the real world, that's another question. Warping space time, that sounds good in the movies, but I don't know. So it's not something I really spend too much time thinking about, to be honest with you. Honestly, what I spend the most time thinking about when it comes to space is, if space is truly infinite, then we have an infinite number of alien species that have evolved to the point where they are one with the universe and godlike. And if they are, they become one with matter. That's just the nature of infinity. Then matter is one with life. And what does that mean? So wrap your mind around that. How come you never talk about technical stuff anymore? Like about attacking PRs with auto-regulated sets, adding extra sets. Nowadays, it's just motivational stuff for weak-willed lifters. Man, I've done everything over the years, and I go through periods where I want to talk about different things. And I got tons of content on everything, and I got books on everything. I do talk a lot about this stuff in my videos. I mean, when I talk about improving results or muscle building or whatever, there's a lot of things that I mention in my videos, a lot of tips and things people don't know about. It's not all motivational stuff for weak-willed lifters. So, I'm not really sure why you're saying that. If you look at my videos, and I'm not going to pull them up here, a lot of it's about muscle building lately. So for a long time, when I was really into powerlifting, I did a lot more strength stuff. Now I'm doing a lot more muscle stuff. Let me see if I can pull something up here for you guys. So just be patient. But I do what I feel like doing. That's the way I've always been on this YouTube channel. And over the course of doing 2,500 videos, I got stuff on everything, man. I mean, I've done everything 2-3 times over. So there'll be ebbs and flows. I'll come back to everything. But right now I got to do what I love, because if not, I'm just going to do what's forced. And I never talk about technical stuff like attacking PRs. Everything I talk about is attacking +1s. Everything. Auto-regulated sets. I just mentioned the other day about pushing a set for as many quality reps as possible. And I'm not really sure what you mean about adding sets. When I do videos like that, it's very specific topics. So, let's just pull up what we got here. Let's pull up the old screen share, shall we? I think really what you're saying is, how come you never do videos that I want to see? And I don't know, because I can't do everything that everybody wants to see. Let's see. 12 ways to become a lazy fat slob. That's 12 tips on how to stay lean. That's pretty good. A lot of tips. Hidden key to getting big and strong. That was my coaching. 6 reasons you'll never bench 315. That's a pretty tip-driven bench video. Strength standards for building mass. I don't know, man. That is packed with information. So I don't really know what what to say beyond that. The truth about weak body parts. That's about training, focusing on everything as a weak body part. 7 tips to build a beastly body. Extra arm work. Just because it's motivational stuff, there's a lot of truth and reality in there that I'm helping people focus on dropping junk volume, for example. Force reps, there's a video on force reps and beyond barbells, some home gym equipment that can help you. I got a lot of quality stuff in here, man. Just here's a shoulder workout or information on shoulders. I got a lot of quality stuff just in the last 3 weeks. So if you have a video topic that you want me to see, bring it up. But to your point, nowadays it's just motivational stuff for the weak will beginners. That's bullshit, dude. That's bullshit. I challenge you to find a channel that puts out better average content than what I put out. And I call people on bullshit, and I just try to speak the truth, and I'm not trying to be hard. I appreciate your support. But if you look at my videos from the last month, your statement's bullshit. Not everything is for the weak will beginner. I got all kinds of good information here. And honestly, 90% of people watching need to hear the weak will lifter stuff because 90% of you are failing because of it. So if you want more advanced stuff, sign up for my coaching. All right, sorry. One thing I don't like is when people make blanket statements, and I appreciate you following me, but man, I put out as much good content as I can, and if you don't like it, tell me what you'd like. Tell me what you'd like me to talk about. All right, let's move on. How to place legs when benching. Under the back with only toes touching the floor or more spread. And this is a good example, focus on the last comment, how I don't talk about this, that, or the other thing. I do live videos every week with hundreds of questions a month, and I answer everything. So, I am putting myself through the ringer for you guys, and I love to do it, and just talking about what I can. All right, this is a good topic. So I did the thing with feet back, and I always found my legs very shaky. So where to place your legs when benching. I'm going to tell you, for the average lifter, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I want you to be natural. If you want to try putting your legs back or try putting your legs forward, that's fine. I've done both over the years. Right now, I try to keep them in a natural place. What I focus on more, when I was on my toes, I often felt like when I was trying to spread the floor that I was getting shaky. So that's something I didn't like. I would more focus on keeping it natural and trying to gently press down and spread the floor. One of the big differences one of the issues with teaching the bench in a world where powerlifting exists is a lot of the powerlifting tips are set up to help you with maximal tightness for a single or double or triple rep set. Something for a very short period of time, when most of us are doing volume stuff or muscle building stuff, right? So we're doing, our sets are longer, and it becomes harder to maintain that constant tension and stress, and something generally breaks down. So you have to keep that in mind. Setting up for a powerlifting rep, 1 rep max, and trying to keep that degree of stress and pressure and tightness over the course of 30 seconds or 7, 8, 9, reps can be difficult. So I try to seek a reasonable degree of tightness and a simple setup. So with a foot position, I try to put my feet down and spread the floor just gently. That's a reminder. When I'm lowering the bar, I try to row it down. I try to keep simple things that'll help with tightness, help to protect the shoulders, and are more sustainable over the period of a longer set, if that makes sense. So with foot position, try some things out. Don't feel pressure to go with one or the other. I'd rather have you have a minimal degree of tightness in the lower body and have that sustainable, if that makes sense. Paul, greetings from Vancouver, Canada. Thank you for joining in. Best music for Monster Gains. Well, this will open up a can of worms because a lot of you are a lot younger than me, right? So you know how it is when you're talking with old, when you talk to old people about music, everything from their generation is the best. I'm not kind of like that. I was a metal guy for a long time, and I also like pretty lo-fi independent music as well. So I like a wide variety of stuff. I like jazz. I like just a wide variety of music. But for Monster Gains, I'm not, for me, it's always going to be the same Slayer and Exodus and things like that. Just things that kick me in the balls. Robert Anthony, sorry, using the rep goal system, but I've plateaued on the bent over row at 4 sets of 12. I seem to always max out at 12 reps on the final set. So what I would do now at this point is I would probably dial down the reps. I'd probably move to 10 reps per set. 12 is a lot on a barbell row. I'd probably move to 10, try to run that for a while. And if that continues to be rough, I'd probably back that down to 8. And we also have to look at, do you really have a plateau? Where are your strength levels at? At some point, adding a rep per month will be a good rate of progress because you're already pretty strong. So I'd have to look at where you're at. But the first thing I would consider doing is backing down your reps a little bit per set. Are you fully booked on taking new clients right now? I'm pretty much at the bursting capacity, and I got 2 phone calls after today, 2 this weekend, onboarding new clients, and then I'm pretty much done. I will probably take on 1 or 2 more stragglers, but after this, I'm not going to mention it for a long time because I'm pretty much at the bursting level. So if any of you guys are interested, you can go over to my website, which is above right here, superlivingtoday.com. There's a coaching tag or tab. If you have any questions, let me know. It's $80 a month. It's not expensive. I'm with my clients every single day. This is what I do full time when I'm not doing this box called YouTube. From the moment I get up to the moment I go to bed, I am doing client videos, I am doing client workouts, and I'm doing client messages. I look at probably 100 videos a day. I have over 300 client messages a day, and I'm usually building 2 to 3 client workouts a day. So that's what I do full time. How to combine strength training with Olympic lifts? I don't know. Olympic lifts are out of my realm. I'm not saying they're bad. I just don't think they're particularly good as a whole for strength training, powerlifting, and muscle building, not strength training. They certainly are great for what they are. There are variations you can use that can help with strength training and that can help with muscle building. But as a whole, the true Olympic lifts, it's more something you do because you want to get good at the true Olympic lifts. It's like kettlebell stuff. I have nothing against kettlebell stuff. I have nothing against Olympic lifts. Can you use some of them to build muscle? Absolutely. But, as a whole, Olympic lifts, you're better off finding somebody that can, that's an expert. Can you combine them? Yes, you can combine them with strength training. You don't have to do a lot of Olympic lifts on a weekly basis. You could have an Olympic lift day. So you could do a push-pull legs, and then on a Saturday, maybe have like they do in strongman, have an event day or an Olympic lift day. Just make sure you're covered and you can technically tackle the lifts. That's probably how I would do it. But, with Olympic lifts, a lot of it is repetition, right? So you can do repetition early on without doing heavy weight. You're going to do repetition, repetition, repetition. And since you're not doing heavy weight, it's probably best to do that after your strength building sessions or on your off days. Well, I just wanted to ask, my overhead press is 70 kg and my body weight is 8 kg. Is this weak or decent? That's decent. For those of you keeping score at home, kilograms, 2 pounds, and I always got to punch this in, even though that's 155 pounds. That's pretty good. That's intermediate level, right? That's reasonable. So, Is it weak? Nah, it's not weak at all. Stephen, love your content. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in. And Giannis is from Belgium. You know, you tune in a lot, Giannis, but I did not know you're from Belgium. You probably mentioned it before, but I'll remember sooner or later. Thomas, are there any supplements you would recommend beginner lifters taking for maximum benefit? Creatine is really at the head of the class. This is mine, Massive Creatine Plus. You can get it at superlivingtoday.com. And it's not just creatine, it has D-ribose, Elevate TP, and Synactive. So that's in there as well to help with ATP production. That's not even focusing, but this is about $1 a day, and I'm about to order round 2. Creatine, not just because I sell it, but creatine is number 1. Beyond that, you want to consider things like vitamin D just as a backup, maybe fish oil, B12 is something I take. These aren't going to be super rock stars, as far as performance, but they're like a good baseline, a good health baseline. Beyond that, things can be pretty personal. For some reason, creatine made my stomach bloat. I don't know about that. I'm not saying it didn't, but that's one of those one-off oddball things. People will say they did this, that, or the other thing, and they had a weird reaction. Is that possible? Yeah. But it's highly unusual. Let's just put it like that. How do I train calves if I don't have a platform to stand on? You do seated. One of the best ways to train calves is to do seated barbell calf raises. You can do this anywhere, home gym or commercial gym. And hang with me because I'm going to tell you a method that has been adding calf size for my clients that have been using it. What you do is you get a little bit of a platform, right? Something to put your feet on, even if it's like a 25-pound plate or the edge of a 45-pound plate. Put your feet up there, put the barbell on your knees, put a little pillow or banky-wanky on your knees if it hurts a little bit. But what you want to do is take 3 seconds to press up, hold, and then 3 seconds to lower. And you want to do that for 10 to 12 reps, 2 to 3 sets, maybe even multiple times a week. What you're going to really be doing is stressing the soleus, and you'll be surprised if you do this progressively over a long period of time that you will start to see some calf size increase. So give that a try. I would recommend not just for those of you that don't have a platform, but anybody that wants to increase their calf size. Try the seated calf raise. You don't need to do this with a barbell. You can do it with the seated calf machine. Do the 1, 2, 3 seconds up, hold, 1, 2, 3 seconds down, and do that. Get that time under tension, get that progressive overload, and get that sweet calf size increase. All right. Hearing all the talk about front squats, what's the difference between a back squat? Maybe quads more? Generally, what gets tossed around is that front squats are more quad centric. I can tell you front squats are generally easier for people to get in the hole. They for a couple reasons. Number one, people don't overthink them as much as they do back squats. You put a barbell on somebody's back and all kinds of shenanigans happen. They fold over, their legs come in like they're trying to protect themselves from dying. You put a barbell on the front and they just sink down like it's natural. So, the difference, the weight distribution generally makes it easier for people to sink naturally. I don't mind the front squat. I just don't particularly like it. There used to be something called the manta ray. I think it was a manta ray. You don't ever hear these things talked about. Was it the manta ray for the front squats? Hold on, kids. Or was it the stingray? The manta ray and the stingray, I believe. And it's kind of like a pussy pad, but not really a pussy pad. Here we go. So let me just see if I can find this sucker. And I got to make sure I mute this YouTube video because I'm not sure what this goofball is going to do. All right, share. All right, so this dude, this is just a random channel, so I don't know what he's going to do, so just warning. But it is HWO Manta Stingray Review Front Squat, and I'm going to run this real quick and just see what this guy does. Is he going to blabber? Okay, so you put these things on the barbell, and then you place them on your shoulders, right? I actually owned one of these back in the days. Dude's got a really ganky squat form, is making me cringe a little bit. But you can see on your shoulders, it actually holds the barbell a little bit. That's a tool that I've never heard talked about at all, and it's one you might want to consider. It's super cheap. Don't be like that guy and have ganky squat form, though. The way you talked about space reminded me of a funny clip of a guy trying to explain how 5'6" is basically 6 foot tall. You know, mathematics, which is my background, I remember in 10th grade, my physics professor proving that, and some of you guys have seen this before, but mathematically he proved that 1 equals 0. So mathematically, you can do a lot of things, and space has a lot of odd gymnastics, you know, when it comes to infinity, or variations of infinity that you can talk about. You know, when you talk about space, if space is truly infinite, then there's infinite versions of you and infinite planets and infinite, all kinds of things. So just a lot of craziness. If it's not infinite, you have to ask yourself why. Why would there be a limited amount of space? All kinds of fun questions. Brandon, starting off another lean bulk, is it better to have a time frame cutoff or a weight cutoff? It's best to be super strict on your calories. You want to gain about a pound and a half a month max, and somewhere in a pound to a pound and a half a month, maybe a pound and a half a month max. You want to ride that train, and it's okay to do that for like 4 to 6 months and then do a mini cut for a month to take a break and then to get back on it. Nothing wrong with that, but just be super consistent with your calorie intake. It's a long process. For the average individual, 4 months and a month break, 4 months and a month break, it's probably a good thing, to decondition yourself and then get back at your training. Brett Wild, are supplements all hype? These are basically black and white types of questions where, and Brett's not saying this, but voices on the internet will say it like, just things idiots say, like, all supplements are useless. And you're like, go over to examine.com and read the research. And it's like saying all vegetables are useless. It's like things people don't think say, right? So obviously hype. Do people hype supplements? Absolutely. I've been in this game a long time and I've seen a lot of hype, and we know what hype is, right? No supplement's going to give you crazy amount of gains. No supplement's going to give you crazy benefits, but can they give you quality benefits that can bolster your health, bolster your sleep, bolster your performance a little bit? Absolutely. Absolutely. And we got so much science out there that shows this, especially if you look at like creatine. So just do your research. Go over to examine.com. And you have to prioritize your budget with what the current meta-analysis is saying. All right, guys, keep the questions coming. We are 38 minutes in, and I have a client call in about an hour and 20 minutes, so I can stay on until then. On massive 5x5, seated dumbbell press is getting hard to get into position. This is a great question. What you do is you switch to a single arm. You probably have to do this standing. So when getting two dumbbells into place becomes very difficult, you have to move to basically one arm at a time, and you probably have to do that standing. I just shared a video with a client the other day, and let me see if I can find it real quick. But I would consider moving to standing one arm at a time. And just give me a second here, guys, because there was a point where, here it is, getting a a barbell or a dumbbell in position. Okay, here is me from October 30th. This is actually before I was at my leanest, so it is what it is. This is 110 by 6 on the overhead press. This is when I was still at about 260 for a fat boy. And watch this stress trying to get these dumbbells. These are 110s into place. Look at that fat boy. It was like some kind of a crazy Olympic lift thing. Get him into position, then do a squat. And the first rep was always the hardest. And yeah, you get the point. So at some point, I had to switch to single arms, one arm at a time, because it's very, very hard to get into position. That would be my best suggestion. You can also move to the Arnold raise. That's a little bit lighter. Jay, how long do you have to train before you really start seeing your genetic potential for muscle size? I got close to mine after 2.5 years, but I was hard and heavy grinding out. Is that possible? Like 3-4 years? Yeah. That's the fast track. Most guys will never get there in 3-4 years. And we're talking 90% of your natural potential. Beyond that, a lot of guys will take a lot longer. Most guys will never get there because they never get to the strength levels they need to get there. So it's all about strength and safety and relentless consistency. Robert, I always have knee pain after squats. Use wraps, warm-ups, watch my form, never go past parallel. Never go past parallel, Robert, that's a red flag. If you're hanging above parallel, that's causing unwanted, unnecessary strain on your knees, likely. So I'm going to be honest with you, Robert, because I care. I don't care if you watch your form. You need somebody like me to watch your form. I can spot form flaws in a second, and any reputable strength coach, and there's a lot of boneheads out there, they know how to watch common things. Like, is your upper body tight? Is there hesitancy in your descent? Are your knees in, your knees out, your feet in, your feet out relative to your limb lengths, that sort of thing. If you're having knee pain, you need somebody to analyze things from the ground up. You need somebody like me or any other coach. I don't care. I'm not trying to put money in my pocket. I'm trying to help you not have knee pain. So you got to find a power lifter or a strength coach that knows squats. That's not just going to pat you on the back, because that's what I try to do. Not pat you guys on the back. I try to shoot you straight. And honestly, Robert, your form likely needs a lot of help. And the fact that you don't go past parallel is a red flag, because hanging your squats high can put a lot of pressure on your knees. So if you have a video, Robert, feel free to send it to me or a link on Instagram at benthebarman or benthebarman@gmail.com, and I'll take a quick peekaroo. If it's not your squat form, then could be you're just not built for squats and you might be better off doing something else. You talk about alien evolution reminds me of the cyclical expansion and contraction of the universe theory. Well, think about this, Dave, okay? So let's say humanity decides to seed the universe, and we send out 1 billion seed pods, right, that not only have the ability to seek out, habitable planets that would be good for our forms of life, but also able to grow human life, once it arrives. So let's say these things expand out to infinity, right? Infinity forever to the edge of the universe for billions and trillions and quadrillions and years, right? So at the end of the road, after an infinite amount of time, when the last seed pods reach as far as they could ever go, what would they expect to find? Well, they could expect to find mankind waiting for them, because mankind has evolved over the millions and trillions of years to be so advanced that it actually becomes one with matter, or able to conquer any problem with amazing ease. So life expands, trillions and billions and zillions of years, only to find life waiting for them already. That's kind of an odd. Paradigm. Do we see the universe, or do we just wait for ourselves to evolve and naturally gain the potential to do that with ease? So there you go. Howdy from Minnesota. What's going on in Minnesota? Also, did you eat big this week? Did I eat big? If I eat big, I spend all day crapping, and I feel miserable, and I feel bloated when I run. I only watch you, Robert, and Dave Tate. Been a while since I watched Dave, so Dave's probably always a good source of information. I would ask more questions, but I like the questions others ask. No problem there at all. I just don't want newbies to the channel to feel like they're not part of the club and can't ask questions. JK or GK, greetings from Greece. What's going on, Greece? Hope things are well with you. How do I gain mobility to squat barbell? When I do a squat, it's like a good morning. That's almost 99% a form issue. There was some good research that I saw on Brad Schoenfeld's Instagram that says barbell work is as good for stretching as stretching. So usually mobility work, lifting is mobility work in a sense. You really need somebody to look at your squat because there's a huge chance it's a train wreck. All right, we got a special guest in the studio. It's Mr. B. Butters of Butterville. What's going on?
To have him. He was a slave.
He was a slave. What's going on?
He's sleepy.
This is my best buddy pal. He's my buddy pal. He's like, Dad, I'm just going to chill right here. This is my buddy pal. Peanut's over there in the background.
Mine.
She's mine. All right, here you go. Thank you.
See ya.
Yeah, see you later. All right, what do we got here? How important is time under tension for muscle building? Very good question. Time under tension is a natural outcropping of proper programming. What do I mean? Time under tension isn't something you need to seek if you're working hard and you have a reasonable amount of volume. It'll naturally fall into place. It's not something you ever need to worry about. What you need to worry about more is probably the sloppy lack of control on the eccentrics and just sloppy, crappy form in general. Excuse me. So time under tension isn't something you need to chase. Generally, people preach it, but powerlifters, nah. The people preaching it don't understand hypertrophy or the science of hypertrophy. They really don't. It's attached to one or two old studies that have no tie into modern meta-analysis. Time under tension is going to occur naturally from a good program, from hard work, and from controlling, not slowing the weight during eccentrics. So just keep that in mind. And just making sure my dog's not licking its butthole. She likes to do that. Rico Santana. If you haven't bought the cookbook, definitely worth it. Thank you. The recipes are really great, simple, fast, and affordable. Thank you. It's not a huge, I think I got one right here. It's not a huge book. Here it is right here. It's available in PDF and that thing, the thing right there. And it's got a bunch of recipes in it and things I eat. And things that are really good go-to. So I appreciate your support. Tim, what's going on? Tim checking in from Chi-Town, Chicago. Justin, how long can you typically run the rep goal system before you start beating yourself up? Good question. And the answer is until you start beating yourself up. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you get to the point where you start beating yourself up, then you deload and you start beating yourself up, it's a good time to move to maybe only one hard set per exercise. And usually I like to do that on the last set because when you're more fatigued, I don't want you, if you do it on the first set, like your first set's hard, then you can go and whack off on your back off sets. Like there's no real reason to, there's the door opens to screw off on your back off sets. So if you start to feel beat up, you can move to the point where you just do the last set. So let's say on bench you do eights. So you do 8, and then on the last set, as many quality reps as possible. If you hit 10 or more, move up in weight. Does that make sense? John, if there's an infinite number of me's, one better be the next C-bum. But it's got to be this one. I hope the one that you are right now is going to see $1 million in your bank account. That would be a good one to be. Any cues for keeping my back straight in military press? Yeah, sit your butt down. Seated presses, really. I mean, military presses are all the rage and all the cool kids do them, but I'm a big fan of seated presses overall. Seated behind the neck, I don't care. Seated front press, I don't care. The seated front press, you lean the old incline back a little bit so the barbell's not hitting you in that big fat thing you got right there, right? And that big fat thing, that double chin you got. But that's what you kind of want to do. On the military press, it's hard, man. I mean, you got different weaknesses. You got different limb lengths. You got, it can be a lot of pressure on your lower back. So I could give tips, but really everybody's different. Everybody is going to be different when it comes to the military press. You want to brace your core as best as you can, and you want to release that air when you're about, halfway or towards lockout. And that's the best you can do. Massive Iron 5x5 has deadlifts at 5x5. Is that 5 working sets? Don't see a lot of love for 5x5 deadlifts. I believe it's 5 working sets. Been a while since I looked at the program. I've made so many programs, so I'm not trying to be an idiot and say I don't remember my program. But none of my books generally specify warm-up sets. Warm-up sets are in addition. So if it says 5x5, that's no warm-ups. Those are working sets. Can I also send in form videos? Take the S off there, and you can send in a form video. I'd be glad to help. Everybody that messages me on Instagram, I help. But, usually I would ask kindly that you only send in one video at a time, or maybe one video at a month, because that's a lot to deal with. And anything beyond that's a little bit too much. Arthargolate, Taramaki. Thank you. It's on Juji's channel. Was posted today. What's on Juji's channel? I don't know. Sorry, I missed you there. Maybe we can just search on YouTube. Okay. Juji. What's Juji doing? I'm pulling them up. Inventing new exercises with Dave Tate. Oh, I got you. Yeah. I'm one of those guys that like Dave Tate doesn't know exists. I did hear that they use part of my video on the bench press slingshot in an ad for Mark Bell, but I don't even know if Mark Bell knows that I exist. Just maybe using my content. Beef Lewis, going to a show tonight. First one downtown over a year. I play drums, so I'm so jealous of the act. Have fun. Glad to hear that. We're actually going to a comedy show tomorrow to see I don't know if you've heard of this gentleman. Let me see if I can find him here. I think I follow him on here. Where you at? Where you're at? 1 second, folks. One second. And you have Josh Blue. If you haven't heard of Josh Blue, check him out. He is funny as heck and just hilarious. Everything he says is hilarious. So we're going to see him tomorrow night. He's only 19 minutes away. So a billion seed pods in an infinite universe is still zero, right? Yeah, it still is. It's still zero because anything divided by infinity basically is zero. Locally, a blank space. When you say controlled eccentrics, how long would you say it should last? Don't think about it in terms of time. Think about it in controlling rather than letting the load come down and catching it at the bottom. Control the eccentric, like you're in control. Like when I do a lat pull down, I'll drive it down and I'll let it come up naturally, just with a nice controlled feel. So no real time, it's more just feel. I've never taken a pre-workout. Would you recommend? It is certainly worth keeping one in your gym bag. But what I typically would do is I would rarely take a full scoop. I was a big fan of pump and grind. The formula, for just whatever reason, always treated me well. But I would only half scoop it, and I felt like I could just keep going on my workouts. So it's worth taking, but don't just take some fringe one or some pre-workout based on hype. Do some research. And maybe start with a half scoop for a while. How should I go about balancing out my lats? I played baseball through college. One side is better shape than the other. The only thing you can do is focus on what you can control. What does that mean? I'm not Harry Potter. This isn't the Hogwarts School of Muscle Building, but I do know what you can control. You can get strong on a variety of exercises. Deadlift. You can get strong on vertical pulls, lat pull downs and pull-ups. You can get strong on horizontal pulls or rows, dumbbell rows, barbell rows, seated cable rows. So get your deadlifts, your horizontal pulls, your dumbbell rows, get them as strong as possible, attack them for 3, 4, 5, couple 2, 6 years, and that's the best you can do. Beef McLewis. Do I touch the barbell to my collarbone in the seated military press? No. I hate arbitrary, and this isn't on New Beef. I hate arbitrary standards where people say you have to take a barbell to here, there, everywhere. Because like every body type is different, right? So what I do when I'm doing a seated press is I'll generally only take the bar below my chin. And if you look at it where my arms are like this. So my elbows are below my shoulders. When you're doing this, as long as you're like right here, my elbows are equal with my shoulders. The bar's like at the top of my head. And when I get down here, my elbows are well below my shoulders, okay? So that's the bar right below your chin is okay because your elbows are way below your shoulders. How long would you run a program before testing? Testing what? I assume you mean testing your max, and I'm not a big fan of testing your max. Why? Because I can go to a 1-rep max calculator and tell me that 270 by 10 on bench equals an approximate blah, blah, blah on 1-rep max. If you want to test your 1-rep max, then test your 1-rep max. But most programs, any program you find on the net, though it'll help you get stronger, it's not a peaking program, okay? It's not a peaking program. Peaking programs are designed to help you get to the point where you can test your 1-rep max. These are off-season programs. So if you want to test your max, make sure you do a peaking program before. I have a book on my website at Super Living Today, or PDF, that talks about peaking. And I believe it's only $9.99. And excuse the sales drop, but there just aren't a lot of things on the internet about peaking. It's just kind of a lost art. Hold on a second, guys. We'll find it, maybe. How to peak, okay? If you go to my website, which is there, and you go into the store, or you can go to this little handy-dandy search thing up here and put in peak. How to peak, test your 1-rep max. It'll give you 5, 8, and 12-week peaks that'll help you do it safely, or more safer. All right, Justin, I finished my cut a month ago, still within my first year of training. Now I want strength. Bulk for the next 2 years. Bulk until you can't take the bulk anymore. It's probably a good idea to go 4, 5, 6 months and then take a month, kind of a break where you decondition your body for the next round of big training. So I would probably do 4 months and then a month back, not necessarily at a cut, but maybe pulling the calories back, the maintenance level, or doing a 4-week mini cut, and then increasing the intensity again. During that period where you are cutting or maintaining, I would just hold steady at the weight. I wouldn't do any intense drop sets, supersets, or volume work, because you kind of want to reset things, desensitize the body, and then attack again. But after that, yeah, 2 years of that type of pattern, you'd be good to go. Musa, I drink coffee as a pre-workout. I am an addict to Monsters. So if they don't give me all the caffeine I need, I'm in trouble. Ruck, how do you know based on the belly size if it's time for a cut? Well, that's a good question. Skinny guys can have a small belly, but to them it feels like a big belly. And big guys can have a big belly, but to them it can seem like a small belly. So there's a couple factors involved. I mean, do you have body dysmorphia? What does that mean? Do you have an accurate understanding of where your body truly is? Or are you 134 pounds and just think you're fat, and you're absolutely wrong? So you probably want somebody else to look at a picture, somebody like me or somebody with experience, and say, okay, based on your goals, this is probably a good idea to cut, and this isn't. Or maybe it's not a good time to cut. What I would say is, if your weight is bothering you mentally on a daily basis, then you probably need to cut weight. All right, guys, we are got about 4 questions left in the queue. If you have any questions, post them up now. If not, I'll be hopping off after these questions are done. So last call for you guys. What's your personal favorite set and reps on deadlifts and squats when you do them? Okay, so deadlifts, me and Faz kind of disagree a little bit here. I don't like people to overwork the deadlift, and I prefer to keep deadlift reps at no more than 25 per session. I prefer to do other things like big beefy back work and deadlift variations, but I like to do 25 reps max. And what I used to do is deadlift threes. I'd work up to a heavy set for the day, and a heavy set would be, a 5 rep set or whatever, never above 90% of my 1 rep max. And then I would drop weight and do more reps, and then I would drop weight and do more reps. So I do 3 sets, safe quality reps, as many as I could. On squats, basically I do the same thing. I'd work up to my heavy set of the day, then back off and weight. So let's say I did 455 for a triple or a quad or 5 or whatever. I'd probably back down to 365 and do max safe reps, 315, do max safe reps, and then maybe 225 until my testicles fall off. I kind of like doing that, getting the heavy set out of the way and then getting in some volume afterwards. Do you recommend shouting big, juicy tricepticons after every set of close grip bench press? I do, and if they kick you out of your gym or they call the police, just tell them I made you do it, and tell them you have statues of me at home. See if you can kind of get some mental illness theme going on so they can lock you up for being absolutely crazy. I'm 53. Should I consider TRT therapy? 51. It doesn't hurt to explore where you are at hormonally once you are older in age. With that said, the first thing you want to explore is your sleeping habits and your eating habits and your exercise habits. You want to square away that stuff. Because if you're one of these guys going for TRT that's on a fast track for a heart attack at age 55, and I'm not saying you are, Brent, but I'm just saying those types of guys need to fix their shit first. I like strength training, but running and swimming are starting to grow on me. How do you combine cardio and strength training? Good question. I have a lot of clients that do both, and basically you need to structure your workouts in so they don't cross wires. You got to know that the body will adapt and you'll be okay. There might be an adaptation period where where you're doing both and it doesn't feel easy, but don't panic. Getting stronger will help you get bigger, so just be patient. I do not like to run the day before leg day. So that's the only thing I do differently. I will not run the day before a leg workout. So just, I generally, if I got a big deadlift session or a big squat session, I try to have a rest day before. Other than that, just don't do other forms of exercise before strength training. You want probably 6 hours between each session if you do them in the same day. Rock, thanks. These are great Q&As. Thanks for tuning in. Leon, how would you structure a training routine where you train 5 times a week? I thought about push-pull legs, legs and arms. Well, you can't do legs, rest, and you say upper legs and arms 5 times a week. Upper legs and arms. Well, what you could do is you have a flexible schedule. Okay, so a flexible schedule for a lot of my clients, I do push-pull legs A, push-pull legs B. So they have 6 workouts, and they rotate between those 6 workouts 5 days a week. So that's one way to do it. You can have a 4-day-a-week schedule or 4 workouts, upper A, posterior A, upper B, posterior B. And you can rotate between those 5 days a week. So you don't have to stick to a weekly schedule. You can kind of have 6 workouts or 4 workouts and rotate them over the course of 5 training days. So just know that. And Usman says, why does it keep skipping my question? Because YouTube is annoying. I have no idea. YouTube is like that every week. If I miss your question, head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman, post your question up, or try shortening your question. But it's not me. I'm not skipping your question. YouTube's just weird. BKS Gaming, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. A training routine with a fixed number of total reps, but trying to do them in 3 total sets. That's okay. You would need a progression approach, though. So if you have 25 reps and you do them in 3 sets, let's say you do 10, and then 8, and then 7, that's 25. And then the next time your first set is 11, you have to have some set that's going to be the trigger for progression. Excuse me. So it would likely have to be the first set. Like if I get the first set over 10 reps, I'm going to add weight the next time. Jake the Snake. I've been training just over a year and starting a new mesocycle. Should I start with a lower RPE of maybe around, this is way too much RPEs and mesocycles and overthinking. And I'm not being hard on you, Jake. But forget the concept of RPE. What does that even mean? What you need to do is have a decent progression approach. Check out my workouts, Jake, on my website right here. There's a ton of them. There's a home store tab and a workout tab. You don't need to worry about mesocycles and RPEs. You need to worry about a good progression approach and digging in over a long period of time and making sets count and working hard and don't overcomplicate things, because this is just a jumble of overcomplication. Joshua H. I'm 218, 5'10". Should I cut or maintain? I'm a newbie lifter. Probably cut. I'm 5'10", and if you're a newbie lifter, it sounds like you have a lot of extra chubblard going on. And I'm not saying you're fat, Joshua. I'm saying that you're fat-ish, okay? Because you probably don't have a lot of muscle. You're fat-ish. You're a fatty in training. You're kind of at that borderline. So if you're a newbie lifter, I would probably number one, at least get that below 200. Number 2, maybe 180, 190. And then I would dig in, because if you go on and forget this maintain recomp stuff, that's like trying to catch a ghost. It's bullshit. It's nonsense. It's hard enough to build muscle in a calorie surplus. Forget all that bullshit. Okay, that's Harry Potter level stuff. Forget it. It's just don't hamstring yourself. You either got to sell out, get the weight off, or you're going to go in a bulk where you gain 1.5 pounds a month and you get to like 240, 250, and now it's time to lose 40 pounds. Seated row versus pull down. They're 2 different exercise types. A seated row is a horizontal row or a horizontal pull because it's horizontal to the ground. A pull down is a vertical pull. It is perpendicular to the ground. Those are two different types of movement patterns, and you need both. Rest in between sets. Rest should be kept natural. When you're mentally and physically ready to go again, attack the next set. There is some indication for in the hypertrophy or muscle building world that a little bit longer of a rest period is better for muscle building rather than a little bit shorter. With that said, we have to be practical. We have to be pragmatic. We can't live in the gym because that sucks. We want to get home. We got other stuff to do, right? Like eating food and things, right? So the best advice is when you feel mentally and physically ready to go again, attack. And that's going to vary on a daily basis. Some days your energy is going to be low. Some days you're going to feel like a rocket fuel. So just listen to your body. How low do you cut calories on a mini cut? Well, you probably, this is going to sound like, everybody in the cutting world is worried about losing weight too quickly. Like you lose weight a pound. If you say lose a pound and a half to 2 pounds a week, somebody's going to freak out and say, lose more than that, you'll be okay. Like, I train people for a living, and you know how many clients lose more than 2 pounds a week? Not a lot, right? Because number one, it usually requires you to eat a lot less food, and that can be very demotivating and very challenging. And number two, people go like 5 days good, and then whoop, dog's birth, they have to eat a little bit more. They're up and down. They're inconsistent. So you probably want to be in a place where you're set up to lose about 2 pounds a week. And then if you have an occasional naughty day, you're not going to hamstring yourself too much. I'm back to the gym, and thanks for your time. Thank you, Ruck. I appreciate your support. Naughty Jackal. I'm very torso and leg dominant. Currently using your 2-day full body workout. Should I add more sets to both bicepticons and tricepticons to get bigger arms? I would really like to know how long you're training and how your progression has been. That's the key. You always focus on hard work and intensity and how you're doing before you add volume. So I would have to kind of dig under the hood before I could blanketly say yes or no. Best way to recover the body from lifting, rest days. Do you need to deload with the rep goal system? Everybody needs to take time off eventually. The rep goal system, if you work it hard for a long period of time, you'll wake up one day and you'll feel a little bit beat up. So yeah, you're going to have to take some rest time eventually. You can take an extra day or two here or there. That's probably the best way to do it rather than just to blanketly say, I'm going to take a week off, even though that's okay every 8 to 12 weeks of training. You're right. Thank you. Thanks, Josh. How long does it take to see major definition in the quads? Currently training legs 3 times a week with tons of focus on squats. How long will it take to see definition? Number one, that's a function of your body fat levels, because adding muscle takes a long time. Losing fat takes less time. So we have to look at those two variables. Training more is not going to lead to more size. Training more is just going to lead to more volume. Training better will lead to more size. So when I see I'm training legs 3 times a week with a focus on this, that, and the other thing, that's good. Those are good exercises. But your main focus has to be on progression. And if your main focus is on getting stronger over time, you don't need to squat 3 times a week. You do not need to deadlift that much. You do not need to lunge 3 times a week, and you do not need to leg press 3 times a week. In fact, if you're training hard enough, you should be like, I don't want to do those 3 times a week. So I hope that helps some. What's a great program to run after strong lifts? Oh, why are you guys using that shitty program? For the love of God, go over to my website. Got tons of great programs. Store, workout. Look, strong lifts is like the worst program. The worst strength program in existence. Can you get results off it? Yes. Is it the worst program? Yes. Stop doing strong lifts. Go to the shame corner. Your numbers are great. You got good results despite having a program you don't need. I got great programs over here. The Massive Iron 28-day power building cycle, the AB posterior split, the Massive Iron 5x5, the Barbell and Bodyweight AB, all kinds of good stuff over here. So check those out. Those are all good options. I also have the Massive Iron push-pull legs. You, sir, are pretty strong, so you would probably benefit from more of a custom program. But something like the 28-day power building split or the Massive Iron 5x5 might be right up your alley. What is a giant set? A giant set is when you put a lot of exercises together back-to-back with limited rest. They're, in my opinion, one of the worst ways to try to build muscle. Rest pause work is fine, but you get to the point where you're doing 3-4 exercises, in a row, then it's more cardiovascular than it is hypertrophy. Thoughts on lightweight glute isolation versus heavy compounds? Both are good. You want to start out with heavy compounds when progressive overload, and then as your fatigue grows, you want to move on to less intense, less impactful exercises like machines, and then eventually isolations. Should I change rep schemes when trying to lose weight? No, not really. As long as you're not training above 85%, you really don't have to change any rep schemes. You just kind of have to listen to your body more and understand it might be harder to build muscle or progress when you're losing weight. Sometimes it's better to go a little bit lighter for higher reps when you're losing weight because you can still get in the volume. It just might feel a little bit better without sacrificing the overall relative intensity. If specializing a body part in a full body routine, how many sets per week would you suggest? Look, it's hard to specialize a body part in a full body routine because you got 3 days a week. You're trying to squeeze in if you're going to do a specialization program, let me start over. You basically have to pull back on volume from other things in a full body workout. So you're going to have to back off a little bit on your overall chest, back, whatever, and then add in those sets into the body part you're targeting. So what I mean is, let's say in a full body, you do 12 sets per chest, 12 sets per back, 12 sets per shoulders. Maybe you pull those back to 9 each and you add those 9 sets into legs if you're going to specialize legs. So that's kind of how you would have to do it in a stupid, simple way. Why did the chicken cross the road? Probably because one of the bodybuilders that eats chicken at every meal was chasing it. I don't know. That's all I got. When someone lifts 315, 300, 275, is that their 1 rep max? Yes, that's their approximate 1 rep max. All right, guys, we're done with questions. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll be here every Friday at 11 a.m. Come locked and loaded with all your questions. If I missed your questions, head over to Instagram at benthebarman@gmail.com. Go over here to buy stuff. That's what I do for a living. I don't have a Lambo or $200 cookbook, but I do have $9.99 workouts and coaching services. So, and I got T-shirts. Buy a T-shirt. You don't want to walk around nude anyway because you look ugly. Your body's horrible. Your body's just horrible. So you want to have a T-shirt on, and you probably want to get one of the Massive Iron T-shirts because that way people know, you know what you're doing. All right. Paulo says you didn't answer. You didn't have a question, Paulo. Sorry. I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it, Morgan. All right, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Have a great week and enjoy the weekend.